Source code sells you a wild idea and then hides its biggest cheat in plain sight. The program is not just replaying a dead man's last 8 minutes. It is acting like his brain contained a complete, searchable copy of reality. The setup is simple, and it is smart storytelling. Captain Coulter Stevens is picked because his brain is considered compatible with Sean Fentress's. The system is not just reading memory. It maps Stevens' conscious agency into Fentress's final viewpoint. Inside that borrowed life, Stevens can talk, move, improvise, and make choices. He is not watching a recording. He is steering a body in a world that feels solid. That is the hook, and it points to a real difference. Playback is passive. Presence is interactive, and interactivity demands way more information than a memory clip can hold. Which brings us to the film's biggest failure, the way it treats human memory. In the loops, Stevens learns things Fentress likely never noticed. He explores parts of the train, digs into other people's messages, and finds evidence hidden out of sight. The world behaves like a fully rendered level, with off-screen truth waiting to be discovered. Real memory does not work like that. Human recall is selective and reconstructive. It depends on attention, emotion, and what your brain bothered to encode. Even when you stare at something, you keep a rough summary, not a perfect 3D database. For source code to work as shown, Fentress's brain would need more than experience. It would need a near-complete model of the whole train, including what everyone else was doing, moment by moment. That is not retrieval. That is environmental reconstruction. You can imagine a system that fills in gaps because we already build models that do that. They take partial data and generate plausible scenes. The catch is simple and brutal. Plausible is not the same as true. A model can give you a convincing bathroom search and a believable suspect without any guarantee it matches the real past. Inference is not evidence. Then comes the movie's quantum turn. Early on, the explanation feels like simulation. Later, it implies something stronger. Stevens' actions don't just rerun events. They create or access a parallel timeline where the train can be saved. The film borrows the language of many worlds, the idea that outcomes correspond to branching histories. Many worlds is not a joke. It is a serious interpretation of quantum mechanics, but the film treats it like a big switch labeled "Pick the better branch." In actual physics, the hard part is not imagining branches. The hard part is controlling them. Decoherence ties systems to their environment instantly, and it destroys the delicate quantum coherence you would need to treat branches like adjacent rooms. A commuter train, a human body, and a bomb are not fragile quantum states waiting for selection. They are hot, noisy, macroscopic systems, already tangled with the world in ways you can't unwind. So the movie takes an interpretive idea and sells it as an engineering feature. And that brings us to the interface itself, the real star of the premise. The film asks for magical bandwidth and magical understanding. The system reads Stevens' intentions, feeds him a complete multisensory world, maps his motor commands into someone else's body, and keeps his identity intact. After each run, it also pulls out useful reports. In real information systems, whether quantum or classical, that kind of control requires precise preparation, stable dynamics, error management, and reliable measurement. Even small lab setups are fragile. A high-resolution, two-way link to a living conscious brain is far beyond anything we can do, and the movie skips the hard parts. No neural mapping, no decoding limits, no explanation of how subjective experience gets written and read. Oddly, one of the most unrealistic details points to something the film gets right ethically. The 8-minute afterglow is convenient, but Stephen's distress feels real. A conscious operator is not a neutral processor. Stress and pain change performance, and if someone is alive enough to suffer and plead, then this is not just a device. It is life support, and it is a human experiment. The story is right to make that moral pressure unavoidable. Finally, the investigation logic is more grounded than the metaphysics. The initial goal is narrow and credible. Identify the bomber from a completed attack to stop a second one. That is intelligence gathering, not simple time travel. And the film respects small clues, the kind that matter in a crisis, even if the machine delivering them is pure fantasy.